What if it never happens? What if it never works out? What if I never win? For a long time I assumed the answer was obvious. If you never win, then you lose. Those are the rules of every game. Something goes up, something goes down, one person leaves with more, another leaves with less. But life is, I think, a bit stranger than a game, because it offers a third possibility. You can fail to win without exactly losing anything. You can remain where you are with the same life, the same fears, the same view from the same window. Nothing breaks, nothing disappears. The furniture stays in its place, the clock continues to tick, and somehow the years pass without disturbing the air. There is something lovely about that idea. You don't need to win, but you don't need to lose either. You can simply enjoy the harmony around you. If you live this way for long enough, you become very professional at it. At least in my head, you could be a calm person, a chill guy, someone who never rushes, who is neither early nor late, but always arrives exactly on time for the life he already has. At first I thought this sounded almost perfect. No rise, no fall, no plus, no minus. You're not going backward and you're not going forward. You're simply there. Isn't it an idea of enjoying the moment? But the more I thought about it, the less peaceful it became. Because if you never move, you never see another view. You don't enter new rooms, meet the people waiting inside them, or discover the version of yourself who might have existed there. You avoid stress of change, certainly, but stress is not only pain. Sometimes it is the pressure that gives a life its shape. And from that perspective, losing begins to look different. Everyone hates losing. If someone says, "I don't care, it was only a small thing," there's a reasonable chance that they are full of bullshit. A loss does not have to ruin your life to disturb it. It gets inside you, squeezes something tender, and leaves you pacing through your own mind, replaying the moment and imagining the one small thing you could have done differently. It hurts because it changes the shape of the world. Yesterday one future was possible, today it is not. But the pain also forces a reaction. You reconsider, you learn, you become angry, you try it again, or you finally admit that you were walking toward the wrong place. Losing moves you. Sometimes backward, sometimes down, sometimes through a door you would never have opened voluntarily, but it moves you. So perhaps losing is not the opposite of winning. Perhaps losing is simply another form of movement. There's a phrase I saw in the comment section of one of the YouTube videos. Sometimes, the only way to win a game is not to play, and sometimes that is true. Not every game deserves your time, and refusing to participate can be a decision rather than an escape. In poker, you can call, raise, or fold. Often, the smartest person at the table is the one who knows when to let a hand go. But imagine folding every hand for the entire night. You never call, never raise, never risk a single chip. At the end, you have lost nothing, but have you played poker or have you merely watched it from the closest possible seat? This is where my original question begins to change. Maybe the frightening alternative to winning is not losing. Maybe it is stopping so completely that nothing can answer you anymore. What if I never win? What if I never lose? What if I never try? The last one frightens me most. The trap becomes especially convincing once life is more or less okay. You have more stability, some comfort, perhaps a home and enough money to stop thinking about money every hour. For the first time, you possess something worth protecting, and because you can lose it, fear begins to sound almost reasonable. It calls itself maturity. Sometimes it even calls itself gratitude. Why want more? Why disturb a life that works? What if this is enough? Maybe it is enough. Wanting more is not automatically noble, just as remaining still is not automatically cowardly. But there's a difference between enjoying what you have and using it as a wall against everything that might happen next. There's a difference between choosing peace and slowly disappearing inside it. Of course, you don't have to try harder all the time. That is another cruel idea, that every failure means you should wake earlier, run faster, risk more, and turn your life into a machine for producing results. Sometimes you should try less. Take half a step, crawl 1 millimeter if that is all your body and mind can offer today. The size of the movement matters less than the fact that it belongs to you. My friend once said something to me I have never forgotten, even though it's kinda unusual to hear something like this from my friend, but he said, "Better to burn for a minute than to smolder for 10 years." It is a violent image, and perhaps not always good advice, but I understand why it stayed with me. There are lives that end in one great disaster, and there are lives that quietly become smaller because every day repeats the decision not to risk anything. One kind of pain is obvious, the other can feel like comfort for years. You can of course stop for a while. You can give up for an evening, a month, perhaps longer. Rest is part of movement too. But sooner or later you have to decide whether you are resting or whether you have become a stone. And even a stone eventually moves. Rain loosens the earth beneath it, another stone strikes it, a storm drags it toward the sea, or a stranger picks it up and throws it somewhere without asking. Remaining still forever is almost impossible. The world will move you eventually. The question is whether you will move on your own terms. I also keep remembering a line from Evangelion, or at least the way it has remained in my mind. As long as Earth, Sun and Moon exist, everything will be alright. Maybe not today, maybe not in the way we expected. The line does not promise that we will win, only that the world is still here, unfinished, and therefore another movement remains possible. So what if I never win? I don't know, maybe I won't, but I no longer think losing is the worst answer, because a loss still means I touched the world and the world answered back. Perhaps what I'm trying to say to myself, I don't need to know that I will win. I don't even need to know that I will stop losing. For now, it is enough to know that the game is still going, and while it is, I can still move.